6 experienced hikers climbed into the mountains of Siberia in 1993, but only one came back alive, and what she described still doesn't fully make sense. The group was led by Lyudmila Korovina, a respected survival instructor with years of experience in the wilderness. The hikers weren't beginners. They knew the terrain, they knew the cold, and they were prepared. At first, the expedition was completely normal. The group moved through the Khamar-Daban mountain range under freezing rain and violent winds. Conditions were harsh, but manageable. Then suddenly, everything changed. One of the hikers collapsed without warning. He began bleeding from his eyes and ears. Then he started screaming. Not yelling for help, screaming uncontrollably. The others panicked. But within minutes, another hiker collapsed, then another, one after another. The group began losing control. Some tore off their clothes despite the freezing temperature. Others ran wildly across the mountainside, disoriented and terrified. One reportedly smashed his head against rocks. Another clawed at his throat while gasping for air. The survivor later said, "It happened unbelievably fast. Healthy people suddenly behaving as if something inside them had snapped. And then, they started dying. One by one, in the middle of the storm. Far from civilization, far from help." The only survivor was a young woman named Valentina Utachenko. She watched her friends collapse around her, unable to understand what was happening. Terrified, she fled into the wilderness alone. For days, she wandered through the Siberian mountains trying to survive. Cold, hungry, completely isolated. Eventually, she reached another campsite and was rescued. But when recovery teams later found the bodies, the mystery only became worse. Some victims were found partially undressed, others were frozen in strange positions, and according to reports, several showed signs of internal bleeding. Officials blamed hypothermia, but many people still question that explanation, because hypothermia alone doesn't explain the sudden screaming, the bleeding, or the speed at which the group collapsed. Over the years, theories spread. Some believed it was toxic gas, others suspected military testing, infrasound, poisoning, even psychological breakdown caused by extreme conditions. But no theory ever explained everything, and that's what makes the Khamar-Daban incident so disturbing. Not just that they died, but how quickly they lost control of themselves before it happened. 6 experienced hikers entered those mountains, only one returned. And even today, no one fully agrees on what happened to the others. But the strangest part of the Khamar-Daban incident was how quickly everything happened. According to the survivor, the group went from completely functional to total chaos within minutes. Experienced hikers suddenly screaming, bleeding, running through freezing mountains as if they were trying to escape something no one else could see. And even after the official investigation, many details remained unclear. Some reports mentioned internal bleeding. Others described irrational behavior that didn't fully match hypothermia alone. People questioned whether the hikers were exposed to something toxic. Military testing, poisoned air, even infrasound caused by the storm itself. A low-frequency sound powerful enough to trigger panic and psychological breakdown. But no theory ever explained everything, and that's why the case still disturbs people today. Not because of what was found, but because of how suddenly the group lost control of themselves before they died. Valentina, the only survivor, rarely spoke publicly about the incident afterward. And many believe she never fully recovered from what she saw on that mountain. Even now, the Khamar-Daban mountains remain cold, isolated, and almost completely silent.